Hello, everyone. It looks like we're here at the top of the hour and would like to thank everyone for joining us here today. My name is Miranda Kennedy, and I'm the co-director of the ABLE National Resource Center, and I'm happy to be facilitating our presentation today. We're doing our Spotlight series, and today we will be featuring our ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica programs. Before we dive into the spotlight, we have a few quick logistics to get through, so let's go ahead and get started with that. In terms of listening to the webinar today, the audio for today's webinar is being broadcast through your computer, so please make sure your speakers are turned on or your headphones are plugged in. Hopefully you're reading this if you're not hearing it. You can control the audio broadcast via the audio broadcast panel. If for any reason you accidentally close the panel, you can reopen it by going to the Communicate menu at the top of the screen and choosing Join Audio Broadcast. If you do not have sound capabilities on your computer or prefer to listen by phone, the number you can dial is to the right-hand side, 165-479-3207. The toll-free number is actually 1-855-244-8681. You'll also see that in the captioning at the bottom, I believe. The meeting code is 662-486-498, and you don't need to enter an attendee ID for that. As I mentioned before, we do have captioning, so real-time captioning is being provided. Those captions can be found in the Media Viewer panel on the lower right-hand corner of the webinar platform. If you want to make that panel larger, you can minimize the other panels like the chat, the Q&A, or the participant panels, and that'll make that larger for you. Submitting questions. We hope that you will have questions for us here today. We want this to be a dynamic, engaging webinar. If you have questions that come up during the presentation itself, please feel free to submit those directly to us using the Q&A box. And we will direct those questions accordingly during the Q&A portion. We'll also be showing this slide again then. If you are listening by phone and not logged into the webinar, you can also ask questions by emailing those to mulisky, it's M-U-L-I-S-K-Y, at ndi-inc.org. And today's webinar is being recorded, and the materials from today will be placed on the ABLE National Resource Center website. For technical assistance, if you have any technical difficulties not related to the questions you might have around ABLE, but just accessing the platform, you can use the chat box and send a message to our host, NDI-admin, or you can also email Maggie at mredden, R-E-D-D-E-N, at ndi-inc.org. So that's the logistics. So our facilitator and presenters today, again, I'm Miranda Kennedy, co-director of the ABLE National Resource Center. I have the pleasure of facilitating today's presentation, and I really am happy to have our presenters here with us. We have Sarah Pennington, who's the Senior Marketing Communications Associate with ABLEnow, and Jerry Hulick, who is the Financial Advisor at the Washington Group Special Care Planning Team. Our agenda today is pretty simple and straightforward. We're doing a review of the ABLE Roadmap to Enrollment and Roadmap to Independence tools right up front to help you get started and make the most of your ABLE account. It's going to be pretty quick, though. We're not going to be going through those, just doing a quick review and giving you access to those tools. And then we'll really be diving into the presentation, which is an overview of ABLEnow, which is the largest independent ABLE program in the country. And also we will be introducing ABLEAmerica, which is the first ABLE program available through financial advisors. And we will be having a Q&A at the end as well. So let's do our review of those roadmaps I mentioned, the roadmap to enrollment and the roadmap to independence. We're not going to be doing a breakdown of ABLE basics here today. We're going to be diving into our spotlight presentation so that we have plenty of time to focus on that. And we're doing this to accommodate the many among you who are listening who know ABLE like the back of your own hand and want to hear about ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica. However, for those of you joining us where today may be your first ever webinar on ABLE, we don't want to leave you behind. If you're trying to determine if ABLE would benefit you or your family member, you are going to want to check out our roadmap to enrollment, and this will cover the following topics with helpful 3-minute videos and guidance around what is ABLE, Who is eligible? What can funds be used for? And here I'm going to put a plug in for our December 13th webinar that is coming out later today on qualified disability expenses. You're going to want to join us, so flag that on your calendar right now. Also, how do I manage my account and how do I enroll? And that fifth piece on the roadmap to enrollment, what that will do is it'll take you to our ABLE state comparison tool, which we'll show on our next slide, where you can comparison shop the various state ABLE programs, many of which are open to out-of-state residents. This tool will allow you to easily compare fees and features to determine which state ABLE program is right for you. Once you're an ABLE account owner, you'll want to check out our Roadmap to Independence, which also includes short videos and guidance on setting my financial goals, building a circle of support because anyone can contribute to your ABLE account, making smart financial decisions, monitoring my ABLE account, and celebrating my financial independence. So there's a 2-page attachment of the ABLE fact sheet and roadmaps for you to download from today's presentation in case you didn't when you came into the platform. They were there as well. But this is for those of you who have an ABLE, but I do want to mention that for those of you who have an ABLE account already, this is a great short document to share with others in your network who may benefit from ABLE. So please help us get the word out. We also have a Spanish language version that's attached. We're trying to cover all of our bases here. Okay, with that, let's take a look. On this next slide, this is just a visual of our comparison tool, what we're about at the ABLE National Resource Center, how to learn more about the states that have ABLE programs, and also information on joining our mailing list if you haven't already, and different things to know. And I just wanted to highlight this is a nice segue as I hand things over to Sarah Pennington to get us started talking about ABLEnow. And with that, I'm going to ask us to hand the ball over to Sarah. And Sarah, the platform is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, Miranda. Can you hear me, Miranda?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay. So good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the country. I appreciate the information to share information about Virginia's ABLE programs, which are ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica. My name is Sarah Pennington, like Miranda said, and I work for the ABLEnow program. So let's start with what we'll cover in today's presentation. My hope is that you'll leave this webinar with some background on Virginia's 2 national ABLE programs. First, there's ABLEnow, which is our direct sold ABLE program. We'll cover the features and benefits of our ABLEnow program, as well as how you can open an account online today. We'll also review some tips on comparing direct sold ABLE programs. There's also ABLEAmerica, which is our advisor sold ABLE program. And we'll have a conversation with a financial advisor to discuss services advisors can offer and how the ABLEAmerica program can be a new tool in their toolbox to help clients. But before we go any further, I'd like to touch on the importance of ABLE. As Miranda said, ABLE accounts are a transformational new financial tool for eligible Americans with disabilities. But we need your help to spread the word about this empowering program. It's estimated that 8 million Americans with disabilities are eligible to have an ABLE account, but only 30,000 accounts have been opened across the country. So less than 1% of eligible Americans are taking advantage of this opportunity. So let's work together and improve these numbers. Help us spread the word. It's also important to note before I advance the slide, in this presentation, I can give you information about our ABLE programs. However, I cannot provide legal, financial, tax, or benefits advice. So let's start with some background on Virginia's ABLE programs. In Virginia, we like making history. You may know Virginia is the birthplace of our country. You may also know it's the birthplace of 8 U.S. presidents, but you may not know that it's also the birthplace of ABLE. The idea for ABLE came more than a decade ago when a group of Virginia parents were frustrated that they could set up college savings accounts for their children without disabilities, but they could not save money for their children with disabilities. The community fought hard to change this inequity. It took years, but their voices were heard, and people with disability their voices were heard. People with disabilities deserve to save for the future just like anyone else. In 2014, the Federal ABLE Act modified the U.S. tax code and opened the door for ABLE accounts. The ABLE Act is named for the late Stephen Beck, Jr., a Virginian who advocated for people with disabilities. Sadly, Mr. Beck passed away right before the ABLE Act was signed into law. The act, signed by President Obama, was named for him to honor his advocacy. His daughter, Natalie Beck, became the first ABLEnow customer when our program opened. You can see Natalie with her family in the photo on the right at our ABLEnow launch event in 2016. So the Federal ABLE Act established the rules for all ABLE programs. Similar to 529 College Savings Plan, an ABLE program must be sponsored by a state. But the ABLE Act gives eligible individuals the freedom to open their ABLE account in any national program. It's important to note that an eligible individual can only have one ABLE account. But if your state does not have an ABLE program, or you prefer another state's ABLE program, you can open your account today in the program of your choice. In 2015, Virginia became the first state in the country to pass ABLE legislation after the federal ABLE statute. This state legislation authorized development of Virginia's ABLE programs. For the development of ABLEnow, we worked with disability advocates and potential customers to understand what the community wanted in an ABLE savings program. Today, we continue to partner with these organizations you see on this slide and many more to share information about ABLE accounts. In our first 2 years, we've done about 200 ABLEnow educational events and presentations. We also lead the way in national outreach. As a few examples, ABLEnow is proud to be the official ABLE program of the Miss Wheelchair America program. A number of these amazing women that we met at the national pageant in Michigan this past summer became customers and ABLE advocates themselves after learning about ABLEnow and seeing our presentation. ABLEnow is also the official ABLE program of the National Wheelchair Basketball Association, and we were excited to attend this year's national tournament in Kentucky and share information about ABLE accounts and our program with more than 1,000 players from across the country. You also may recognize ABLEnow if you're a fan of A&E's Born This Way. We partnered with the award-winning show to spread the word about ABLE accounts and the ABLEnow program. During the season 3 finale, Megan, who's in this photo sitting with a purple shirt, and her mom learned about the benefits of an ABLEnow account. So what is ABLEnow? ABLEnow is the Virginia-sponsored ABLE savings program. It opened in December 2016. We are just about to celebrate our 2nd anniversary. Although ABLEnow is sponsored by the Commonwealth of Virginia, our program is available nationwide to eligible U.S. citizens and legal residents, regardless of state residency. Today, we have ABLE accounts open in all 50 states. ABLEnow has grown to be one of the country's largest ABLE programs. ABLEnow is administered by Virginia 529. We are an independent Virginia state agency that offers a variety of programs that make education more accessible and affordable to families. As the largest college savings plan in the country, Virginia 529 has more than 2.6 million accounts and manages more than $70 billion, that's billion with a B, in assets. Virginia 529 is proud to help people dream, save, and achieve. And with ABLEnow, our mission has become even more inclusive. So ABLEnow is our direct sold ABLE program. You open and manage your ABLE account online right from our website, able-now.com. We've worked hard to make the account opening process simple, and I'd love for you to hear from some of our customers. The first slide is Laura, and she's going to be talking about how her experience opening her ABLEnow account. Let's see if this works. It looks like the audio didn't work, but you can see her quote in the bottom of this slide. She said, opening an ABLEnow account is actually very easy. I took care of it in one evening, and I thought, wow, that was really fast. So by the end of the evening, I had my account open. So she really appreciated the ease and how quickly it was that she could open her ABLEnow account. In the next slide, let me go forward here. We hear from our other customer, Christian. He shares his experience opening an ABLEnow account for his son. He said, I would tell anybody who hasn't started the account that it's really simple to open and fund. You can do any amount, and those smaller contributions add up over time. And remember, you don't have to be the only one making contributions. It can be family as well. And with that, he's addressing that anyone can contribute to an ABLEnow account. So they ask for gifts for his son for holidays and birthdays and such. So with more than 20 states offering a national ABLE option, a question I hear asked is, how can I choose the right ABLE program for me? Each person's needs are unique, but I thought it may be helpful to share 6 features that ABLEnow customers appreciate about our program. Before I do that, I do want to mention that it's important to understand if your state has a state tax deduction for ABLE contributions. As an example, Virginia offers an annual state tax deduction of up to $2,000 per contributor for contributions to an ABLEnow account. To get this deduction, Virginia taxpayers must be contributing to a Virginia-sponsored ABLE program. So you may be thinking, does my state have a state tax deduction? So according to the ABLE National Resource Center, there are 9 states that offer a state tax deduction. You may want to look into this and see if 1, you live in one of those 9 states with a state tax deduction, and 2, if you must be in your state's ABLE program to claim that deduction. Seek the advice of a tax professional if you have questions. But tax considerations aside, I'm sure many folks on this webinar are in one of the 40-some states without a state tax incentive. So it may be beneficial to know a few things to look for when comparing direct sold ABLE programs. So the first thing you may want to compare are fees. While ABLE accounts are designed to be as financially accessible as possible, there are fees associated. The account maintenance fees, or it may also be known as service fees, cover the administrative costs necessary to develop the ABLE program and keep it running. These fees cover your program's business costs, the website, the customer service, information security, etc. ABLEnow offers some of the lowest maintenance fees in the country at $39 per year, payable at $3.25 a month. This fee is the same for all customers regardless of your state. Don't want to pay this fee? The monthly maintenance fee is waived for ABLEnow customers who maintain an average daily balance of $10,000 in the ABLEnow deposit account. This is a unique feature of the ABLEnow program. When you look at other ABLE programs, some may appear to have low maintenance fees or no maintenance fee at all, but it's important to do your research and understand the true cost of your ABLE account. For example, the maintenance fee for some programs may not include features that ABLEnow offers for free, and we'll talk about some examples on upcoming slides. The program may have low maintenance fees, but may have higher than average asset-based fees on the investment side. And a few ABLE programs launched with free or reduced fees for a limited time to attract customers. But like any introductory offer, be aware that fees may likely increase down the road. Second, ABLEnow customers tell us that they appreciate that the ABLEnow card gives them an easy way to pay and track their qualified disability expenses. According to the ABLE National Resource Center, about half of available ABLE programs do not offer a debit card, and some offer it as an option, but with an additional fee. The ABLEnow card is available to all ABLEnow account holders at no additional cost. Third, many of our customers appreciate that ABLEnow makes it easy for their friends and family to make monetary gifts directly to their account, especially this time of year. The ABLEnow Contribution Center is easy to share and free to use. If someone prefers to send a gift check by mail, we offer that service for free too. We also have printable gift certificates available on our website in case the gift giver wants something to wrap or stick in a stocking. Fourth, I'm sitting here in our Virginia office. Right upstairs from me, our in-house customer service team is taking ABLEnow calls. Our team also responds to emails and offers live online chat. We have a great team of professionals working on the ABLEnow program. In the photo on this slide, you'll see a few members of our ABLEnow team serving as volunteers at the most recent Special Olympics state swim competition. We are all committed to our agency's mission, our customers, and the community. Fifth, we know one of the benefits of ABLEnow is being able to save and invest at your own pace. There's no enrollment fee to open an ABLEnow account. There's also no minimum initial contribution amount and no minimum subsequent contribution amount. We designed our program to be as flexible to your needs as possible. And lastly, we are confident that our customers will be happy in the ABLEnow program. We're committed to continuously improving, and we want to remain one of the largest and fastest growing ABLE programs in the country. However, if you open an ABLEnow account today and later find another ABLE program that better meets your needs, we won't charge you a fee to make that switch. So let's talk about how to open an ABLEnow account. This is a screenshot of our website, and I apologize, these arrows were supposed to pop up as we scrolled through the presentation, but I'll walk you through it. So if you're not sure where to start, we have a simple eligibility quiz available on our site to walk you through the ABLE Act eligibility guidelines. And you'll see that circled on the page right there where it says, "Am I eligible?" The application is available by clicking the purple Open an Account button, and you'll also see links at the top of our page to manage your ABLEnow account, give a gift, subscribe to our newsletter, and contact our customer service team. And again, our website is able-now.com. All right, so now we're going to switch gears and talk about our new advisor-sold program. ABLEAmerica is a brand new advisor-sold ABLE program. It opened in July 2018. Before this program, you had to open an ABLE account with a direct sold program, such as ABLEnow. ABLEAmerica is the first and only ABLE program available through financial advisors. ABLEAmerica is distributed by American Funds, a family of mutual funds from Capital Group, one of the world's largest investment management firms. ABLEAmerica is open to eligible individuals in all 50 states. Like other ABLE programs, ABLEAmerica is governed by the rules and requirements established by the ABLE Act, such as who's eligible, how much you can save, etc. A financial advisor can give you professional advice and help you build a comprehensive plan tailored to your needs. In summary, ABLEAmerica is our advisor-sold program. Contact your financial advisor if you're interested in learning more about ABLEAmerica. So today, we've invited a Virginia-based advisor to chat with us about ABLE. And I'm going to introduce Jerry Hulick. Jerry is a pioneer and advocate for the special needs community. Jerry has spoken across the country at various conferences, forums, and panels dealing with issues and planning for the special needs community. He has been active in financial services in the financial services industry for over 40 years, and he is one of the first people in the country to receive the Chartered Special Needs Consultant designation from the American College, the premier designation for financial professionals working in special needs planning. Jerry started the Washington Group Special Care Planning Team and is a national speaker and expert on special needs planning. And we run into him a lot in different events and presentations that we've had, including NDSS events and events at the ARC, et cetera. So Jerry, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So on our next slide, we have some questions that we wanted to use just conversationally to talk about the, starting off basically, why would someone use a financial advisor for their planning?
Well, it's interesting. Even in the last couple of years, we get a lot of questions today about ABLE accounts, and in reality, it is still a direct enrollment. So ABLEAmerica is the first plan to come along where a financial advisor can be involved, and it allows families to look at this and individuals to look at this in more of an integrated planning. A financial planner or services individual is going to be looking at the assets of the family, the assets of the individual. We're looking at the resource tests involved for government benefits. We're integrating employer benefits, government benefits, and all the legal structure that goes around that. So it allows the family to have a discussion around how does ABLE fit as an additional instrument. Early on, the legal field basically pushed back a little bit on the use of ABLE because they were worried that it would keep people from doing complete planning around some of the legal issues and legal structures that are appropriate for families with children with special needs and others. And so now we find, though, that they really see it as not an either-or, but very much an additional instrument that works well in conjunction with special needs trusts and other legal planning the families might be doing. So working with an advisor allows you to ask all of those questions about how does it appropriately integrate. They are distinct instruments, and each of them have some of their own nuance that you need to understand when how to integrate everything together. The ABLE accounts being a Medicaid payback, and then some special needs trusts, first party would be Medicaid payback, and then others are not. So these are not simple things many times, and so having an advisor to be able to walk through all the processes and all the things that are available to us today as far as transferring monies into a special needs trust, from a special needs trust into an ABLE account, monies that can come from employment now with the ABLE Point 2, and as well as even the 529 rollovers. There's a lot of integrated pieces that need to be worked together if we're going to do the right kind of planning.
That's right. So do advisors work with all ages and life stages? Do your clients kind of run the gamut of all different kinds of, life stages?
Well, sure. And these days, I mean, there's just a lot of issues of disabilities are more out, and we see more programs being developed, and this legislation that brought out ABLE is a critical and very important piece of legislation for financial planning going forward for these families. And so you've got disabilities. There's no cultural issue or ethnic issue or economic issue. It affects everybody. It affects all families. And even those as they're aging out of the school systems and everything else. And so the most planners are going to run into all kinds of different situations, particularly with the fact that the diagnostic work is so much better than it used to be, and so more people are identified and more people are really looking to actively plan around some of these needs that will take place in the future.
So for the past few years, Jerry, many in the disability community, we've become familiar with the direct sold ABLE programs, such as ABLEnow. But what makes the ABLEAmerica program different from what's been out there, the past 2 years?
Well, there's many companies, financial services firms, and various different broker-dealers that are basically signing on so that their reps and advisors can be talking about the ABLE accounts and promoting the ABLE accounts. And that's really the significant difference. I mean, ABLEAmerica is the fund group is the American funds, and that's going to vary with some of the various programs across the country and even in Virginia for ABLEnow. At the same time, it's this integrated approach to see how it fits into the rest of the planning and have an advisor who can understand all those aspects and bring it together. And that's something heretofore that hasn't really truly been available. Now with ABLEAmerica, that becomes available, and that integrated planning becomes possible. And I think that's an important dimension that people need to be looking at. There's a lot of confusion around this that gives you an opportunity, not that there aren't people to talk to in all the states, but to really sit down and talk about it, how it affects your family and everything else.
Right. So we talked a lot about the growth of ABLE accounts, and the ABLEAmerica program launched last July and is rolling out to advisors nationwide. In your opinion, what is the potential of this program? What will it look like in 1 year, in 5 years? Do you see a lot of potential for growth now that there is an advisor-sold program out there?
Absolutely. I think there's two things that are going on with the advent now of being able to put earned monies from employment in by the individual themselves. That's opened up an additional door, and that may be people that are not necessarily on SSI or other government public assistance programs. So that changes your limit of the $100,000 up to whatever the state limits are. In Virginia's case, $500,000. So when you start looking at that and you start looking about a life beyond, we'll say, the education years, where somebody is accumulating money to add to the quality of their life later on, I think we're going to see more constituents coming and more consumers coming that are involved in the lifelong planning for the individual and accumulating as much money in as many different places as they can to provide that quality of life, a life like ours. So it's important that I think we're going to see a huge growth. We're seeing understanding and awareness has changed drastically just in the last year. And I think with all the reps that are going to be out there from the various different companies, creating additional sources of information, understanding, and awareness, that we're going to see this really take off to higher levels than we've even expected up until now. And I think that's one of the best things that could happen in this space is the more people that are out there talking about it, the more understanding there is, the greater involvement and enrollment will take place.
It's exciting. So how can someone find an advisor to work with? And then, a little bit of a piggyback on that question, should we be looking for experience or qualifications or specific credentials for an advisor familiar with disability considerations?
Well, there's several companies out in the marketplace that have programs for special needs planning. And so, I think checking into the credentials of the individuals involved, the kind of experience that they have, maybe asking for referrals from other family members that may be dealing with planners that specialize in this area. The American College has the Chartered Special Needs Consultant, and yet there's still, not that many of them across the country, but it's a growing designation, a credential. It's the same group that does CFP and CLU and those others as a credential group. But all in all, you're looking, and I think the companies, too, will build some, literacy education around it as well, so that everybody's going out with some basic understanding of at least what ABLE accounts are, what they do, and the eligible expenses and those kinds of things. But the biggest thing when you're looking for an advisor is, do they know the nomenclature? Do they know some of the same things you're dealing with on a regular basis? Are they conversant in this kind of thing? And families can pretty much tell when an advisor understands this particular space. And so I think it's important to do a little bit of due diligence. I wouldn't just look at ABLE as merely a single instrument product to make the purchase, although there's nothing wrong with that as an accumulation on tax-free basis. I would want to, help the families, and hope the families will look at really trying to integrate it in to the rest of the planning so everything is working in a maximal basis for what their vision and desires are for their individuals involved with disabilities.
So from your unique perspective as an advisor who specializes in special needs planning, is there anything else you want to share about ABLE?
Well, I think it's a huge, very significant instrument in planning going forward. There is no family that we talk to that we don't suggest that they shouldn't be enrolled in an ABLE. We see if any downside to being able to have an ABLE account and the flexibilities that it brings, and just adding again a tax-free opportunity to accumulate money. In effect, it expands the resource test from $2,000 to effectively $100,000 too, because we can put money in this and it doesn't affect eligibility for government public assistance benefits. So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's not complete understanding, and every time we have a conversation with anybody, it brings the understanding, and almost immediately they're wanting to enroll. So because of the tax advantages, because of the different additions that are being added, like employment income or gifts or other aspects of 529 rollovers, it's going to be expanding. It's going to be critically important, and so it's a critical instrument to be a part of any family who's doing planning around special needs. And I think I just encourage anybody either to call to the numbers to ask about them, but or align with an advisor that can really spend some time explaining it, because this really just needs to be understood and further educated to the marketplace, because I think it is a watershed opportunity event for these families.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much for joining us today at this webinar and bringing your experience and perspective to us here. I'm going to, on this slide, you'll see the ABLEnow website. That's able-now.com, as well as our customer service email and our toll-free phone number. And I'm going to hand the presentation back over to Miranda, but certainly, if we don't get to someone's question today, or you have a question specific to your situation, please don't hesitate to go to our website and reach out to our customer service team. We're happy to answer any ABLE questions that folks may have.
Great. Thank you, Sarah and Jerry. Really appreciate your presentation. It was very thorough. We'll go ahead and we're going to open up for some questions now. And I'm just going to put on the slide here. We've had a few rolling in, so I've got one or two queued up for you. But for those of you who've been processing the information and who are thinking, okay, now I have some questions for Jerry and Sarah, this is your moment to ask them directly. So please do. And for that Q&A, please use the Q&A box to submit those questions that you have. And if you're listening by phone and not logged in to the webinar, again, you can email those questions to my colleague, Marlene. Her email address is mulisky@ndi-inc.org. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask a few of these questions that have come in. And the first question that came in, I thought was a pretty good question for Jerry and Sarah. What about the costs for financial advisors? Because that's a different aspect to these ABLE programs when they were direct sold before versus financial advisors being engaged in this. Can you speak to that a bit and let people know about that aspect of the difference between ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica?
Sarah, you want me to take that one?
Yeah, go ahead and take that, Jerry.
Whenever an advisor is involved, if we look at this as the American funds as the underlying, there's going to be sales charges involved, and that's where the advisor gets paid, as well as some of the administrative costs of the program. If somebody existing has American funds, then depending upon the volume of what they have in the fund group already, then the breakpoints or sales charges could be reduced. It's important, and it's really a requirement that any representative of this product has to disclose what the expenses would be and sales charges would be. And so there shouldn't be a hesitancy to ask what they are, because they're supposed to be disclosed. And I think that the difference here between ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica is just that, is that you are paying a small fee for the purposes of getting very technical and more complete advice as to how to integrate with the rest of your planning. And so that's going to be, part of the process. But all of those fees and expenses are going to be very, very similar, except for that sales charge that's coming from the American funds that covers this, and that should be disclosed up front.
Okay, great. We had a number of questions coming in around that specific aspect of it. So thank you, Jerry. And if folks want to write in and let us know if that covers the question you had, or if you have other aspects of that, we'd be happy to relay that on your part. Sarah, is there anything else you want to add about that too? Because I know that's different between ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica, right?
I mean, I think it goes back, Miranda, to what we were talking about, how, there is a program out there for everyone, and just the importance of doing your homework and understanding, what you're getting for your money, and, finding the program that's right for you.
Okay, great. I think that, I'm not seeing, unless Marlene or Maggie have any other questions coming in. It seems like that's really what was top of mind for folks. We got a lot of those questions that rolled in, and I think, Jerry, you did a very nice job answering that pretty comprehensively. Let's see.
I think of one more comment. You may have some advisors out there that are part of registered investment advisory firms or corporate RIAs, and they may be doing it on a fee basis, giving advice as well. But again, that would be maybe a fee potentially like a financial planning fee for a plan over and above the actual product of ABLEAmerica. And so I think it's just the one encouragement I would tell everybody is to ask the question. Ask about the compensation involved and the sales charges involved, and make sure you have complete understanding so that you recognize what you're paying for and for the services that are going to be rendered and what you're getting.
Right. That's a great suggestion there, Jerry. I know there are a number of questions that are rolling in, and some of the questions are kind of ABLE basic questions, which I've got Marlene has been responding to those in the chat for those who maybe are questioning more about ABLE versus the the ABLEnow or ABLEAmerica program. So she's responding to some of those more basic questions that can also be answered in our roadmaps tool that I mentioned at the very beginning. But I've got a couple of these that it looks like I want to ask, and people are asking some great questions. Let me think. I saw one about an older individual. I'm an older person with a disability with no assets. I'm on SSDI with Medicare. How do people like me afford the expert advice that seems necessary for setting up an ABLE account? And I think that goes towards ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica, because it really depends on how expert your advice is, and both of these options are valid options. So Sarah and Jerry, maybe Sarah, could you speak to that first?
Yeah, I mean, there are direct sold ABLE programs, and we've designed programs, the direct sold, I can speak to ABLEnow, to be really accessible and affordable. We talked about how we work to keep our fees low, and there's no fee to open your ABLEnow account. So that's a really great option for somebody who just wants to go online today, open an ABLE account, and start saving money. With the benefits of an ABLE program. There's certainly lots of benefits to looking at the more long-term planning and working with a planner and an advisor to help you with that longer-term, planning and looking at that big picture. But if somebody wants to open a direct sold ABLE program, the ABLEnow program is a great option. That is very affordable and accessible, that you open it yourself. You don't, need to see an attorney or an advisor. You open it right from our website. You can pick your own funds. And so that's a great option for someone who just wants that ABLE product, just that, one account.
And I think people in the financial services industry, I've been referring people to state accounts, direct enrollment of their ABLE for the last months and since they really started to come out. And I think that if somebody comes to our firm, and I think it would be true with anybody working in this space, we come to the planning with a little bit of a different attitude and take on things because of the nature of special needs and disabilities and the quagmire of the things that families have to work with. But if somebody comes to us and they say, I just need to understand ABLE a little bit better, and they don't want it as a part of maybe an overall integrated plan or to spend a lot of time, going through how it does integrate and those kinds of things, then, we give them the broad view and send them right to the the website to do their enrollment, and that's what we've been doing for the last couple of years. And I think a lot of that's going to continue. There's enough of a nuance between the plans that, as Sarah has said repeatedly, you've got to find the plan that best fits your needs. And I think that, involves a lot of different decisions and who all is involved in the caregiving and the planning, as well as the capacity of the individuals involved that are the beneficiaries of the accounts. So, all of that, just ABLEAmerica coming out doesn't mean that we won't see continued significant direct enrollment to ABLEnow and other direct enrollment programs across the country. The issue is to really steer people in the right direction to make the right decisions.
Great. I've got two more questions. Well, let's see. So one of them is, for ABLEnow, how are the funds held? Are they invested and are insured?
So, Miranda, that's a great question. And I didn't go into a lot of the details of the savings and investments, but I can give you a quick overview. So the first $2,000 in your ABLEnow account is automatically allocated to the FDIC-insured ABLEnow deposit account, and that's what's linked to your ABLEnow debit card. And you can continue saving in that FDIC-insured deposit account up to the $15,000 that you can save each year. But once your balance exceeds $2,000, you can actually have the option to invest additional contributions into one or more of our investment portfolios that we offer. And we offer different portfolios to address different investment strategies and risk tolerances. We have aggressive growth, moderate growth, conservative income, and money market. And the first three I mentioned are Vanguard funds, and the last one is a Fidelity money market. So we have a lot of different options for folks who may want to invest their funds as well. So really, it's up to the individual, to the customer, and how they want to save and invest the funds in their ABLE account. But that's how the investments work in our program.
Great. Thank you. These questions that are rolling in, we've got some very smart cookies out there who are asking awesome questions. I've got a number of others rolling in. So get ready, Sarah and Jerry. We're going to really max out the last 13 minutes of this webinar. The next question we have is there a list of advisors who have the special needs designation? I know, Jerry, you had talked about, your background's very specific. Is there a list of folks? Another question that rolled in that's similar that I want to fold into this is, does ABLEAmerica allow you to choose a financial advisor right off the website? I thought those kind of went together a little bit.
Well, as far as a list, you can go to the American College or even call to the American College, and they'll be able to tell you if there's a chartered special needs consultant in your area. But I wouldn't, limit it to just that. There are good financial advisors out there that don't have that credential yet, maybe working on it, or do have some specialized training. So it's probably a little bit like doing the due diligence when you pick any of your advisors. Number one, are you comfortable with them and their knowledge of the questions that you're asking, and are they complete, and those kinds of things. But yes, as a list, you could start with the American College, but just recognize that's not the sum total of those that might be familiar in this space.
Yeah.
And that other question about being able to choose a financial advisor right off of the website for ABLEAmerica, is that something that's there?
Yeah, so if you go to able-now.com/ABLEAmerica, that gives you a direct link to the ABLEAmerica page on the American Funds website. And from there, you can contact the American Funds to find an advisor in your community that sells the ABLEAmerica and other American Funds products.
Great. So here's two more coming up for you. So the next question I have is from someone who's saying, I'm not understanding what the benefit of ABLEAmerica is when you could just get ABLEnow, then hire an outside financial advisor. I'm just trying to figure out what the difference between the two programs is in that regard.
Well, ABLEAmerica basically is the assumption that it is being purchased through this advisor, and they're helping you with the enrollment and getting into the process and then integrating it with the rest of your planning. ABLEnow is, I mean, once you're in the two accounts, there's different underlying funding. The ABLEAmerica account does not have a debit card that goes with it, whereas ABLEnow does. So there are nuanced differences between the two. Somebody could do just what was suggested. They could enroll in ABLEnow and then get a financial advisor that's helping them to integrate. And we've had some people come to us that already had their ABLE account set up as we start the planning. So, you know, all of that's there. It's just the different possibilities that exist as to, you know, what you're looking to ultimately accomplish. Like I said, I don't see one necessarily better than the other. They're just a little bit different in their structure, and one specifically involves an advisor, where the other one is specifically direct enrollment.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jerry. This next question is, you know, we've got a wide audience here, and there are folks from outside of Virginia, and you're open to out-of-state residents, absolutely. This next question kind of comes along that in that vein around, do you recommend choosing an advisor in your state of residence? What if it happens to not be Virginia? So that various public assistance programs can be considered/integrated.
I think that's basically probably a good plan to do, meaning I think the government benefits, the way it's administered through the states, the local community-based supports, all are going to vary somewhat by state. So if you have an advisor that does this kind of planning within your own state or even in your own community or locale, the states will have programs. Community-based supports will have different programs. And I wouldn't pretend to be, you know, an expert across programs across all 50 states, but the states that I actually actively work in, it's a necessary piece of what I need to do is to understand those programs. So when looking for an advisor, that would be one of the criteria too, is how familiar they are with the local programs, as local and state programs, as well as the national public assistance programs and Social Security in general.
Okay, great. These are some really good questions that we're rolling in. And I know that these were the questions that were very specific for ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica. And for folks who had some more basic ABLE questions that were in general, we've had Marlene and Maggie on my team have been responding to those in the Q&A and the chat. And we also have a lot of additional materials going into ABLE at the more basic level available on the ABLE-NRC website. I'm looking to see if Marlene or Maggie have any other questions that they're going to be sending to me in the chat or the Q&A that are specific for Sarah and Jerry. These have been some really excellent questions from our audience here today. I think we've all learned a great deal. In terms of wrapping up, I'm going to go ahead and it looks like that may be, it looks like I might have one more question. I'm going to end on this question. So this question is, my concern is that I have state benefits I have to protect, but I don't have the funds to afford expert advice. Is there any other option for people like me to get the specific information we need to make the right choices and decisions? I think this is a good question to end on, and I think Sarah and Jerry, you both probably have a take on this. So I'll go ahead and start with Sarah. Can I start with you on this one?
Yeah, Miranda, I'll give a shout to the ABLE National Resource Center. I think the individual who asked the question is in the right place because, if you found the ABLE National Resource Center, both National Disability Institute, a lot of other nonprofits in your community probably give wonderful recommendations about, planning and different things and resources that you should be aware of in your own community. I think, finding whether it's a direct sold ABLE program or a financial advisor, leaning on some of those resources to learn more about ABLE savings. And I think a lot of the information you need is right at your fingertips. It's just a matter of doing the homework and learning more about how these programs work and the benefits for you.
I think, early on in the presentation, there was a whole list of pages that showed a lot of the nonprofit organizations, national in nature and even local in nature, that have been involved. And so most of them, as Sarah's saying, on their website, there's going to be resource as regards ABLE. A lot of the same organizations have local affiliates that run workshops on a regular basis on various different topics. From, could be housing, could be therapies, could be ABLE, could be financial, all kinds of different things. So knowing the nonprofits and knowing the organizations that you're involved with locally, many times they will run workshops. Most of your financial practitioners are working in tandem with these groups to provide resource. I recently participated in a local nonprofit where there was attorneys on the panel and there were financial people on the panel and people representing some of the government benefit side. So I think it's, keeping straight everything that's out there, is difficult enough as it is, but the nonprofits themselves, the advocacy organizations, are all doing things many times to educate and build understanding. And so it's staying in touch with that. And you're going to come in contact with the financial practitioners and others that are working in this space. And so it's building a comfortability and then how you engage. And it isn't many times a function, if the money isn't there to do the kind of planning, sometimes it's a matter of really doing a comprehensive overall plan to discern exactly where the money is and where it's going and how it's being spent. And many times there'll be programs that might have been missed, where monies that are available or programs are available, but they were just not known to the individual. So sitting down with a professional sometimes, and I know many of them, the initial consultation they don't even charge for. So, all of these things are resources, but I would not shy away from it just because of what you think might be the issue of an expense or something. I would be asking those questions and answering for yourself, because the more help you get in these areas with the difficulty of trying to get all the information, the better things will be.
That was a great response, Sarah and Jerry. And I do want to mention, too, and we're going to have it on our very last slide, we've got the ABLENRC website that you mentioned, and we've got a call center and an email inquiry line that can be given as well, that you can reach out to us and we can help you even identify what some of those resources are that Jerry was just talking about in your local area and support that as well. We have many webinar archives. We've got a case summary series available on the ABLE National Resource Center website. There's a lot of great tools on there, and if you're wondering where to go on that site, you could use that call center or that email line that is going to be shown on our last slide, so you'll stick around to see that last slide. You can access that, and we can help pinpoint those resources for you in terms of what you're specifically looking for and guide you in that direction. So with that, I think that was a really good note to end on. Thank you for that thorough response. I'm going to just reference back to, we talked about the roadmap to ABLE at the beginning of the presentation. We're going to give you a takeaway if you downloaded it as you came in, and also as you're leaving here today. We hope you'll download our postcard, this is a view of it from the front and the back, which just quickly covers what is ABLE and what is the ABLE National Resource Center. And then here's how to link to that roadmap to check out those videos for each of those 10 steps as you're enrolling and really maximizing your ABLE account and how to do that. And also to check out that comparison tool so you can shop. We can do comparisons of up to 3 states, or even there's an Excel worksheet that can compare all 41 that currently are out there. And you can really take a look at the different fees, the features, the benefits and strengths of these different ABLE programs. Jerry and Sarah did a wonderful job highlighting the work that the ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica have been doing and are doing into the future. They're definitely moving into some progressive territory with some new aspects to these programs to provide additional support. With that, I'm going to go ahead and share with you, here's the email inquiry line. It's info@ablenrc.org. Our call center can be reached at 202-683-6094. I'm going to also be doing a file transfer here to pull up those documents we discussed with the PowerPoint from today so that you'll have that, as well as the postcard in English and in Spanish. And we only have 1 minute left, and I'd like to take that minute to really thank Jerry and Sarah for being here today, for spotlighting the great work that you're doing, and encourage folks to check it out further. Any last comments, Sarah and Jerry, here in our last moment on the webinar? Sarah? You might be on mute, Sarah.
I am. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miranda, for inviting ABLEnow and ABLEAmerica to present. And if anyone has any questions, that come up after this presentation and after the webinar, don't hesitate to use our website as a resource and reach out to our customer service team.
Okay, great. Jerry, any last words?
Well, I'd like to thank the ABLE National Resource Center. I mean, you guys are doing incredible work to build awareness around this program. I think this is very, very important for families, and particularly to Sarah and everything that Virginia is doing, and how now to develop both programs that will allow direct enrollment as well as advisor enrolled. But most importantly, for everybody to become advocates out there in the marketplace, because we need to really grow this as a possibility, and the more we grow it, the more our governments see how important it is to us. And so we're starting in a great place, and we can only make this better. So just promote enrollment.
Great. Thank you both so much. We do appreciate the opportunity and enjoy the privilege of being able to work with and support all of our state ABLE programs around the country and all of the great work that you're doing. We want to make sure that anyone who can benefit from having an ABLE account has the opportunity to do so and has the information at their fingertips to do that as well, and appreciate the ability to do the deep dive today with both of you. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who joined us here today. Let us know if you have any questions or thoughts in the follow-up, and please do keep reaching out and connecting with us. And we look forward to you all joining us on our next event coming up on December 13th. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miranda.